Hey y'all, this is TCA Gaming, and in this video I'm going to show you guys a few things with a magazine that just come out that has both MetaZoo and Pokemon in it, as well as a few other games. And then we're going to briefly go over maybe a little bit of like the price changes on Journey Together, but we're going to mostly focus in this video on the new announcement that PSA is going to be offered as a grading service through eBay if you have something that goes through the authenticity program. First, let's start with the MetaZoo. So I want to talk about this just briefly. If you guys noticed, I didn't notice it at first, but Archive is the very first card in their newest set. And if you guys know Charlie, he's the one who bought out everything. He's kind of like the face of MetaZoo right now, or Meta2. Archive is his son, so I thought that was really cool. I tagged him on Instagram, and he said he gave a big shout out and thanks to Squeak's Game World as well as the design team. So I don't know if it was his idea or their idea, but either way, I think that's really cool though. So Archive got the card. Also, I was going through making my binder set, and I noticed, like base first edition, check it out, gray stamps. There were gray stamps in the box. Now, I assume this was just by accident or whatever, because I did find some other cards too that had like some striping down here in the bottom right. These don't, but these are definitely grayed out. You can see a significant difference between the black and the gray, even here on camera. A lot of times you can't pick up on lighter shades on camera, but you can even see that right now. And I didn't get a ton of cards that had the gray stamp out of the entire box, but I've only opened up one box, so I don't know if it's going to be something that is on the entire set. There are some cards that it did not affect. And if you noticed, like with this card, really the only place you can see it is in the numbers. So cards that don't have the numbers, I noticed did not have, like, I didn't see any significant difference in the border. Like the border is just a little bit different there, but really there are some cards I'm not sure that you would be able to get that gray stamp effect on. But I'm probably the only one who cares about that kind of stuff. But errors and oddities, that's always been something that's fascinated me. Card Pro magazine just come out. You can see this is spring of 2025. This is volume number 1. Right on the front, you have this Lorcana Mickey Mouse, and you can see right here, Pokemon fans, Pikachu's their favorites. I'm not really sure what that means. Building your own commander deck for Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh! The Blue Eyes White Dragon, Peter Atkinson for Icons and Innovators. But this is the backside. You get a MetaZoo Alpha promo pack. There's one foil in there, and there are different cards. You get an Alpha demo pack, which I believe there's like 4 different demo packs. You've got, the green one, you've got a red one, you've got the orange, and then the yellow. Same as the types that are in the set. Then you have this Wandering Glaver, which is a complete different game to seal promo. And then you get a Pokemon Scarlet Violet pack. So I thought this was really cool. I went pretty heavy on what I was buying. But I'm going to show you guys what's inside here. So these 4 items, they come mounted, so you can pull them off. You can see this has got a gold emboss on it. I can get this card off here. It's got like that gummy stuff. The Card Pro, very large. Grand Archive. Did I say Grand Archive? Look at that. Archive again on the product. Then you have this Alpha promo pack. I'm gonna twist it to get it off the gummy. We'll open that up. Same thing here with the Alpha demo pack. I did open up one of these, and I don't think there was anything like too special inside of it, but we'll open up another one just to check again. I think it's similar to the demo pack for Pokemon. There really wasn't anything special there, but I think there was 25 cards in that pack. Then there's a Scarlet Violet. So that's just an insert. And then look at the second magazine that's stuck in here. It's got the alternate art poncho artwork from that box that we opened up last time. What will you do when the stories are true? And here's the magazine itself. See, that's a special issue. What's cool is that you see there's Charlie right on the front page, and it goes through. And I think it's cool. It got little blurbs in here about that. Tells you how to play, and then inside of it, it actually has, this folds out, and it's a playmat. This sticker. So I think that's really cool. Plus, it has a visual of the set. It goes all the way through. So I think this is a neat piece right here, especially with all the different promos and things. and then it comes in conjunction with this Disney Lorcana magazine, and it goes through a couple other stuff, a couple other things as well. You can see there was a Trophy Kangaskhan, some other promos, and then of course there's some advertising, contributing commentators. I never really read these too much, but I always like to kind of skim through them just to see what they got going on. But we'll open this stuff up at the end. But before we get too much farther along, like I said, I was going to briefly talk about Journey Together. Journey Together has continued to come down. It spiked up to like 280, and last I checked, it was like 230 or something like that, which makes sense. This set, there are a few cards in it, but it didn't really have like that really big hitter. I think Lily's Clefairy, that might be the biggest card in the set. It does have that box topper with the enhanced boxes, which is pretty much all of the boxes other than the ones that come from pre-release kits. Maybe they'll change that up with later releases. Those won't have them. I really don't know what to expect. It's all still kind of like a new thing. We have had box toppers in the past, but it's been a long time. I want to say Emerald, maybe sometime in the EX era. I don't remember them. Diamond and Pearl, Generation 4, 5, 6, 7. I don't think any of those had box toppers. I could be wrong. Somebody correct me in the comments if I am. But yeah, prices are coming down, and from what I hear, it's really easy to pull. It's very similar to like the first 3 or 4 sets. I think it was the first 3 sets that had that. It was just easier to complete the entire set, whereas we had the higher hit rates or the bigger sets, I would say, in some of the later sets after that made the set just that much harder to actually complete everything. But again, I've only opened up the one box, and you guys saw what I pulled, so I'm going to jump off the Journey Together thing, and let's get into PSA. So I received this. Partner sellers, I have some exciting news to share. Starting March 31st, that was a couple days ago, eBay is introducing a brand new optional PSA post-sale grading service for trading cards. This value-added service applies to cards over $250, which already qualify for eBay's Authenticity program. This means that users will be able to purchase grading services from PSA directly on eBay. We are thrilled to introduce this enhancement to deepen buyer confidence, boost your listings appeal, and continue growing the hobby we all love. Why it matters. By enabling buyers to purchase grading services from PSA directly on eBay, we are making grading trading cards easier than ever, eliminating multiple shipping steps and providing an exceptional customer experience. What changed for you? Nothing. Seamless post-sale grading, and then final sale protection. That's pretty much all the same kind of stuff there. But who is this good for? So I think it is good to have this option for buyers, because now they can just have it sent directly to PSA. So for me, like I recently bought, I don't know where I put it. I had a card here I was going to show you guys. This is a nice looking card too. It was that Magic Card from Waylord. Somehow it ended up down here. So I picked this card up. I didn't actually pick it up off of eBay, but if I decided to sell this card and somebody bought it and they're like, you know, this looks like it's really nice through the eBay listing, I want to go ahead and have it graded. Instead of having it sent to them, then they send it to PSA, they got to pay the extra ship and all that other stuff. It can just be submitted directly to PSA while it's being authenticated by PSA, which makes a lot of sense, right? I don't know if it's going to be separate facilities or any details like that, but having that option there can cut out some time. And then, of course, you know, if they want to, they could just sell it through the PSA vault, so they never even have to touch the card. So you can literally go on eBay, buy something, and then get paid out for when it sells with that final grade. So people can make money without ever having to do anything other than pick the cards that they want to buy. So I think that can really open up some business opportunities, especially for arbitrage, for the big price gaps between cards that are like the difference between raw and graded. You know, if there's a huge gap there and it's a highly graded PSA 10 card, like the Umbreon, the Moonbreon, somebody once said they were like 80%, you know, to get 10. So I mean, if you could pick that card up for $500 and then grade it and sell it for $1,000, why not do it, right? Because you're not having to do any of the work, you don't have any of the risk, and you can just sell that card. Now, for PSA, of course, this is great, right? Because they're going to get tons of business. The people are going to be submitting to them. They're going to be getting a lot of customers that they would not normally reach. You're going to have customers who potentially might not even be in the country. They'll create a U.S. account. They'll have and then they'll buy and sell and ship. You know, all that stuff will be done by eBay, PSA. You're not having to manage any of it, so it's a lot of hands off. Now, where I think that this becomes an issue is with right now, PSA is already kind of backlogged. I mean, it's not terrible, but I will say that there have been many orders that have delivered to them, but they won't say that it's delivered until almost a month after that time. So that it's like that it doesn't really start until it shows that it's arrived, like your turnaround time. You've got like arrived, and you got your prep, and so forth. And I was wondering why that was happening. I don't know if it's something on the postal services side or PSA side, but it was like I had 10 or 12 orders that were sent in, and there'd be 2 or 3 of them that looked like they got lost in the mail. They weren't showing as delivered, but then they would all of a sudden show delivered right before the 30-day mark when they had to be there before the order that I filled out expired. So I'm not really sure what's going on there, but there's a delay there. And then, of course, they're using almost their full turnaround time plus a little some, the way that you calculate days. And they were turning around cards really, really fast, but I think a flood of people come in and submitted a lot of stuff, and they got a little bit backlogged, right? We're seeing the turnaround times go up, and they're not as easy to even find on their website anymore. I believe if you like follow some of these links. So it says right here, if buyers ask when they can expect their graded card, please direct them to PSA's help and support for the most accurate timeline. So if you click that link, I would think that it would take you directly to the timeline for how long it's going to take. But if you select the topic, cert verification, membership, eBay inquiry, how to submit, order help, payments, vault, registry, shipments, submitting, and web and mobile feedback, nothing here directly says, hey, turnaround times. How long should I expect, from the time that it gets sent into eBay or from eBay to PSA to being sold or being sent back to me? None of that's really there. I've also noticed like some of the orders that I've sent in that they say they've been graded and they have a tracking number. Some of them are taking like a week just to actually reach the post office before it's shipped, which that used to never happen. Usually it used to be whenever you got your grades in, within 2 days that order was in the mail, and then you'd have it a few days later. Now, I'm not saying this for regular orders. Most of this is going to be for like bulk stuff, so it's already got a long turnaround time. You're already submitting at the very cheapest that you can through PSA. They've done a lot of good things with the submission process, and I think this is a great step for the most part, especially for customers and for PSA, for making it very seamless, the process from buying a card, making sure it's real, and then getting it encapsulated, and then even to selling it. But like I said, if you're wanting this to speed things up at PSA, it may not actually do that, because so many more people, I believe, will be submitting to PSA that otherwise before may not have submitted cards. Think of how many people maybe in your real life that you've heard say that they like Pokemon or they collect Pokemon, but grading cards is like a foreign thing to them. And you tell them, hey, that's a really good card, maybe you should grade it. As well as I do, they're probably not going to do that. However, if they get that little check mark, a little option that they can just have it graded when they buy it off of eBay, or if they sold it off eBay and then some buyer buys it from them, I think that's really going to ramp up how much inventory is going to be going to PSA. And subsequently, instead of making that timeline shorter for that buyer, it may actually just make it longer for everybody, unless PSA has been actively preparing for this flood of cards that are going to be coming through the authenticity program. Now, that's assuming we have a ton of cards actually going for the 250 mark and above. Like, just take this one card for example. Like, I don't know how many of these are actually being auctioned off raw that are in gradable condition. I believe that pretty much any condition of this card at this point is probably going to qualify, as long as it's a real English card. But like, if you look at this one, I mean, it's in really nice shape. It's well centered. I have high confidence that this would pull a PSA 10. I mean, if you're looking at the edges, there's really nothing going on. Let me see if I can flash the light on it a little bit. Yeah, I mean, it's just a really nice, clean card. I picked this up out of a collection recently, and this was worth as much as the entire rest of the collection, which was a giant tub. I was like, I'll buy this card from you, and then there was a couple other decent cards. I said I would pay $50 for a piece, and he didn't sell me those. He ended up selling me this, and then everything else in the collection. I mean, it was like a pretty nice stack of just like ultra rare cards, but most of it was just like bulk stuff. But this one, of course, is going to hold a lot of value because I think it's got a decent shot at a high grade. You know, if I'd bought this through eBay, you know, yeah, maybe I'll just been like, yeah, let's just send this thing on to PSA. I don't have to worry about it. Where it does get a little, I think it's not going to increase the volume that much is because how much is that's going to PSA is actually over $250. You're going to be submitting at the non-bulk level. Most of what I submit, most of what I imagine most people submit that are submitting high amounts of cards, it's going to be bulk. Like these aren't going to be bulk cards. They're going to be going through the authenticity program, so it's going to be $250 plus cards. So I think this is a really smart move from PSA because it's going to bring quality to their doorsteps, and they don't have to do anything really. They just partner with eBay, say, hey, we'll take these cards. We're already authenticating them, so we've already did that process. It's going to make it easier on us because now we just have to grade it, and we're already looking at it pretty close. PSA should be looking at it close because they're examining these cards, making sure that they match up to the listing. So if they match up to the listing, then they're already looking at it, making sure that there's nothing wrong with it, but they're going to be able to see anything that's like a flaw on the card. They've already authenticated it, so it's a real card. Now really all they have to do is assign a number, make sure the label's right, and put a case on it. And these are all going to be higher end cards. It's going to be to the higher end of the spectrum of Pokemon cards, Magic cards, whatever is, you know, going through their program. And then there's going to be some percentage of those people who see the grade and they're like, all right, I will just like to sell it through the PSA vault as well. So then they're going to make even more money off of that. And they get the sale, and they get the advertisement, they get the card every time it sells in the future, because whoever buys it, they may want to store it in the vault, and then they just sell it again. So I think it's genius. I think there's going to be a lot of business that goes PSA's way, and who knows, maybe because of stuff like this, they can even cut costs on our end for us to be able to submit at a cheaper price. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, but ideally, that'd be great. Everybody wins in that situation, right? PSA's making more money, so they pass it along to the customer, who then submits more cards, who then PSA makes more money. And I don't know if it's going to work like that, but who knows, right? But if they get too many cards, they get flooded, then it might have an adverse effect where it actually increases the price because they're just getting in too much volume. So I don't know exactly what to expect completely yet, but I think that for the most part, this is a win. And that's pretty much all I have on that. If you have never submitted to PSA, don't forget to use my code TCA25. I do get a kickback if you use it, but you get $25 off as well. It's only for first-time users, and I do appreciate everyone who has been using that code. It has been used quite a bit, much more so than I would have ever thought. So I appreciate that. And if you're ever wondering where you can find that code or any other codes, I keep them down in the description of all of my videos, as well as there's a Linktree link, and it'll take you to all of my different links so you can click on it rather than having to copy and paste. But anyways, hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you guys have a great week.